Hi, my name's John. I'm a master plumber with 38 years experience. Today we're going to be installing the S.O.S Protect powered anode system from CheckYourAnode.com. This product is used for permanent rotten egg smell removal, non-stop corrosion protection, using smart adaptive technology. The rotten egg smell is caused by a sulfate-reducing bacteria that is very common and non-harmful in household wells. The bacteria feeds off the hydrogen produced by the magnesium anode and gives off a hydrogen sulfide gas, which is the source of the rotten egg smell. When you install the S.O.S Protect, you remove the bacteria's food source and it dies within 24 hours, eliminating all sulfur smells from your water heater. So, the only thing you'll need to install this is a 1 1/16 socket, large ratchet. If you have trouble and it can't be removed or it's stuck, you can use a large breaker bar to get the leverage you need to get it out. Also for the ground, you're going to want a wire brush to wire brush the paint off the metal on the water tank, or use sandcloth, which can also remove the paint, and then install the ground with a green electrical ground screw. When installing, use a typical pipe dope for the threads. It does come with Teflon tape on it, but I recommend putting a little bit more sealant on there just for precaution. Also, you want to check your ground with a standard multimeter and you should be good to go. So this is the standard S.O.S Protect, which is for 30 to 69 gallons tank. The XL, which is for 70 to 120 gallons tank. And the VWC, which is for a Bradford White conversion on the hot water side of the tank, which you'll need for the new anode. So this is what comes in the standard kit. This is the standard size anode that comes in the 30 to 69 gallon box. This is the electrical system that controls the anode and the foul smell removal. You also get mounting screws for that. You also get an instruction manual and a sticker to put on the tank saying when you installed the actual product. Move over to the XL, which is a longer rod for the larger size water tanks. And the BWC kit comes with this adapter that you put in the hot side of the water heater. The anode screws down through this section right here, and the 90 connects to your house side of the hot water. Okay, so now that we've seen what's inside the kit, we're going to head out to the job site to install it. Okay, so now we move to the install. First thing we're going to do is kill the power or gas. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Turn the gas valve to pilot. One sec. There we go, pilot. We are going to kill the cold water, which is here. And we're going to have the homeowner open up that hot water valve. Okay, he's good. He's going to shut that down. And then we're going to go ahead and drain approximately 5 gallons off the top of the water heater. And we'll be fine to take the anode out because it's on the top in a really tough spot in the back here. So we're going to go ahead and crank this top nut, open up just a bit to try to get some airflow into the tank so it'll drain. There we go. So you can see the water starting to flow into the bucket. So we got about 5 gallons of water out of the water heater. We're going to go ahead and shut that back off. So we're going to grab the 1 1/16 socket with a ratchet. If I can't break the thread, we're going to go ahead and put a breaker bar on it to get a little bit more leverage. But as you can see, there's not a lot of room there. So we'll see what happens. As you can see, it's back here behind the flue where the tip of my finger is, which makes it a bit more difficult in this situation. So since this anode is in such a terrible spot, I'm going to go ahead and take the flue off so I can get at it and try to get a better angle on it. There it is. All right, now that I broke the seal, I'm gonna put the smaller ratchet back on. It's just a little bit easier to manipulate. And here's the old anode. Which is a bit warm. But that's what the old magnesium anode looks like when you take it out. Not too healthy for your water. So now we're going to install the new anode from S.O.S Protect. This is for a 30 to 69 gallon tank. If you had a Bradford White water heater, their anode tube is on the hot water side. So you'd need this fitting that comes in the BWC kit to install on a Bradford White, which would go on the hot water side. The anode tube will go directly in the top, and you reconnect your hot water on the 90-degree elbow. But we don't need that today, so we're going to be installing this one direct, which is this bad boy here. Now, it does have Teflon tape on it. I'm going to use a little bit more pipe dope with Teflon in it, just to give it a little extra thread protection. Okay, so we're going to slide this right down in the anode port. We're going to go just hand tight, and then go ahead, put our 1 1/16 socket back on there and tighten her up. Okay, that should be fine. Now we're ready to start installing the electrical. Okay, so now that the anode is in and tight, we're going to go ahead and repressurize the tank, making sure the bottom valve is off, which it is. And we're going to go ahead and turn the cold water on. Oop, I got to tighten this back up. Forgot about that. Let me give that a quick turn. And we'll be ready to refill the tank. Now the homeowner has the hot water faucet on in the kitchen, which will be okay because we're going to leave it open, turn the water back on, and bleed some air out of the system. All right, here we go, cold water on. Okay, we'll just give that a minute. I just want the air to bleed out of the line, and then we'll go ahead and start setting up the electrical portion of the system, which is super easy. So the electrical connection on the S.O.S Protect, you can either mount to a stud here, you could mount to the side of the tank, and we're gonna go ahead and make a safe ground with the grounding here on the side of the tank, which can be used with a regular screw here after you sand the paint off the side of the tank. But I'm going to use an electrical green ground screw, which would be your best connection. Good to go there. going to go ahead and split the wire just a bit so I can make my connection to the anode and I can make my ground. There's your anode connection right there. Simple. And we're going to go ahead and remove this screw. We're going to sand the paint off of that tank and put the grounding screw in. Simple wire brush. See, we get right down to the metal there by removing the paint. And we'll go ahead and attach the grounding screw and lead. There we go. Nice and tight. So we're going to go ahead and put the flue back together because we had to take it apart to get the anode in because of the position it was in the back of the tank. So this will only take a few minutes, but we're going to go ahead and put that back on. Okay, we're all set with that. I'm going to go ahead and turn the water heater back on, fire it up. All right, water heater's fired off. We're ready to plug in the S.O.S. Protect. So the S.O.S. Protect is on and operating, showing a green light, so it's got power and a good ground, but it's always good to double check your ground with a multimeter. So we're back from the job site. I want to take a minute and just discuss the importance of anode maintenance. We all know that that can shorten the life of a water heater significantly, so replacing the anode with one of these is probably the most important thing you can do to extend the life of your water heater. So this is the anode that we removed from the job site. You can see how significantly it was damaged, worn away, basically on its way to useless. This is what a standard anode would look like. So you can see how much this has been depleted. In my experience, we've seen water heaters fail many times over the years for improper maintenance of anodes. Using this product, again, will greatly lengthen the life of your water heater. When the anode dissolves, it gives off a small electrical current that protects the tank from rusting. When the anode is completely dissolved, it is no longer protecting your tank. If you install a powered anode like the S.O.S. Protect, you get nonstop corrosion protection and never need anode maintenance again. Just like the magnesium anode dissolves and gives off electrical current to protect the tank, the S.O.S. Protect uses our smart adaptive technology to impress electrical current into the tank and provide endless protection. Water quality varies drastically around the U.S., so it's important to use our smart adaptive technology. Depending on your region's water quality, this tech has the ability to modulate the current output between 0 and 50 milliamps to adjust to your tank's specific needs. Thank you for joining us today during our installation of the S.O.S. Protect. I hope in the future you choose to use our product for your next water heater maintenance job.